bookkeeping is another place where I talk to a lot of new business owners and they're like, I'm just going to do it myself. And I'm like, okay, great. But please have somebody look at it once in a while because you are screwing it up 4 ways to Sunday and you don't even know because Intuit and QuickBooks has told you that you can do it by yourself and you can as long as everything works right. But the first time the program messes up, it's gonna throw things off and you're gonna think everything's right and it's not.
Welcome to Shaping the Basin. I'm here with Pam from Padgett, Klamath Falls. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thanks.
Heather. Thanks
Yeah.
for inviting me.
You obviously Padgett does a whole lot of things. I always think of you for taxes, which is
Mhm.
not exciting. So that's not what we're going to talk about today. Sorry. You maybe
Yeah.
you can give us some advice. But
Yeah.
I always think of you also for company culture because we talk about
Mhm.
that a lot.
Yes.
And I know you often talk about you do some classes and maybe some workshops.
Mhm.
So what is company culture?
So, company culture is not what a lot of people think about with company culture. Company culture is not we have a ping pong table and we bring in pizza on Friday. Those are great things. And if your employees love those things, then you should definitely do them. But company culture is more about appreciating your people and making sure that they have what they need within your systems so that they can be successful and creating loyalty between you and them. Now, I hear a lot of people say, oh, yeah, it needs to be like a family. No, absolutely not. People that work for you are not your children. You did not adopt them because your children and people that you adopt have no power in that relationship. And you need to build a team. Your employees need to be part of your team. They came to you because they want to be on your team. They stay because they like being on the team. You keep them on the team because they're productive members of the team. But we also have a great time and we support each other and we enjoy each other. So it's a good relationship, but it's definitely not a family. It's not a family because you don't get to fire your family members and people stop speaking to their family members, but that's a really awful thing. So you don't get to quit a family either unless it's some big horrific thing. If you work for me, you can quit and I will still like you because that it's about what's important for the employee. It's got to work for them and it's got to work for you. It's got to be a relationship that works well together. So I think that's mostly what company culture is, building that kind of relationship with your people. It's also a lot about your employees understanding why they're there. Why are we doing what we do? Our My vision for my company and our mission statement is to build the kind of place we want to work in while providing the best tax and accounting services that we can. So that's what we do. That's core to what we do. And company culture is more important to me than maybe a lot of other places. But I think that it should be something that every business owner should be concerned about because the employees have changed, the job market has changed, and if you want to attract and retain really good people, they have to be happy working for you.
Mhm. Is creating that culture something you've had to learn, or was it something ingrained in you already?
It's something that I really wanted, but I've certainly made some mistakes while I've done it. I think that, like I said, it is something that I really wanted from the beginning. It was something that was really important to me, but I've stumbled for sure. So I've had to learn about what it is that my employees want because what they want is necessarily not what I wanted as an employee. And so you have to figure that out too. One of the most important things to me when I was an employee was time off. My husband was a farmer and so he allowed time off in the fall and I wanted to have time off in the fall and I wanted to be able to go do things with him. And that wasn't always possible when you just had a 9 to 5 job with 2 weeks vacation. So in my company, you can take unpaid time off as long as, it's not in the thick of tax season and we don't need you. But my employees are really respectful about that. But that's not important to everybody. Unpaid time off. Money is important to some people. Flexibility is important to some people. Unpaid time off is important to some people. One of the things that we really stress is I have a lot of part-time moms that I hire. And so I tell them, if your child is getting an award at school or they're sick, do not apologize. Just take the time off and do what you need to do to be a good mom and to take care of your family.
Yeah, I love that. I think we're going to come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
But I love that you admitted you made it some mistakes. And I'm
Oh,
wondering
yeah.
if you could tell me a couple of them.
Well, I think that when you're trying to build a company culture, and I just put this on my Facebook page the other day, and maybe you saw it, but I read a lot of books, and I read a lot about how to build company culture, and everybody's saying put people first, and I don't know what that means. Because which people? Which people do I put first? Do I put my customers first? Do I put my employees first? Do I put my family first? And then, there's a big segment that says you have to put yourself first, or you can't put any of those people first. So we've made a lot of mistakes in being maybe too flexible or trying to work with the wrong employee for too long. And so we've kept people longer than we should have, and maybe hired people that weren't really best for the position. So I think that's part of the mistakes that we've made in trying to create the best culture. Sometimes we've not done what was best for the company.
Did you? I did see you post that on Facebook
Yes.
when you talked about who am I putting first.
Yeah.
Have you come to an answer?
I know who I'm going to put first, and so I don't know if that's necessarily what the answer is. But for me, the purpose of business is to make money. So the company has to be healthy first. And I'm the one that has all the skin in the game along with my business partner. So we have to come first. And then we believe that our employees should be next and our customers are after that. But it also, I mean, if you're a parent, you know that when you're in a relationship and you have a husband and you have children, that your husband comes first, but then sometimes the kids come first. And so sometimes things shift. So I think you have to be flexible with that. Sometimes we do make sacrifices within the company for an employee, and sometimes we say no, we can't make that sacrifice. The company has to come first. So I think you set your rules about who's first, but then you have to be flexible with it too.
Can you think of a story from maybe even from your organization that like is the prime example of good culture that you want? A story of maybe one of your employees or something that you as a boss went through?
Mhm. When you hire people, they have entire lives outside of business. So, I think that we've had employees that we had to make certain adjustments for, and it's worked out really well for us. And then we've had where we've tried to make adjustments and it hasn't worked out well for us. So I think what you have to do is you have to look at the entire company as a whole. One of the adjustments that we made is I have an employee who's a great employee. He's awesome. He's brilliant. He's smarter than me. I try to hire people that are smarter than me all the time. And when we first hired him, he was consistently late to work, like all the time. He's 10, 15 minutes late to work. Otherwise, he's the perfect employee. Now, I can't just have an employee that's late all the time because that doesn't set a good example for everybody else. So we just changed his hours. So now you're not required to be work till 9:30 instead of 9 o'clock. And that fixed it because he's on time now. He's always on time because he's got that. And a lot of times he's there by 9. Him being there at 9 was not important to the company. He didn't open the office. He didn't answer the phone. But I also don't want to say to the rest of my employees it's okay to be late. So instead, we just changed his hours and solved that problem by that. And the sacrifice for him was that he gets paid a half an hour less than everybody else, and he does not care. That is not important to him. So I think that you have to make things so that it works for each individual employee, but you also have to have standards where you can't say, well, you're just on your own and you get to do whatever you want and everybody gets to do whatever they want. We have to have some like we have to have some rails. I have
Yes.
to know when you're going to be here. You might get to set your own schedule, but I need to know what that is and you need to be accountable to the schedule that you set.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like shifting his schedule, the rest of your team felt very comfortable with it.
Yes,
There was no pushback or anything like
exactly.
that.
We just, made a little announcement. Okay, from here on out, don't expect Carl before 9:30 because his hours are now 9:30 to 5. And everybody's like, okay.
Works fine.
And the thing is that they all know that if they need something, that we're going to be more likely than not to be able to approve that for them, because we are flexible. We have certain things that we can't be flexible on. But like I said, I employ a lot of part-time moms, and for them to be happy at work and to be productive, they have to know that they can take care of their mom thing also.
Mhm. I think that I love that.
Well, it's the
That's
most important thing for them.
it,
And everybody I tell who I hire, there's a couple of things I say to everybody. I say, I know that this job is not the most important thing in your life. This job is not the most important thing in my life, and I own the company.
mhm,
A job should never be the most important thing in your life. While you're here, we have an expectation that you're going to do a great job and you're going to take care of us, and you're going to take care of the clients, and you're going to be an excellent employee. But I realize that that's not the most important thing in your life.
absolutely.
And I think a lot of bosses don't think that way. And I think it's because it is the most important thing in their life, their business. And I think they need to take a minute and back and think about what they can honestly expect from an employee. What can you expect from an employee? You can't expect them to act like owners if they're not owners. And if you want them to act like owners, you need to find some way to incentivize them so that they feel like they are part of the ownership of the company.
Mhm. I like that. Over the years, we've talked a lot to our businesses, our members,
Hmm.
and employee retention or even attracting
Hmm.
employees is one of their biggest pain points.
Absolutely.
And I have gently pushed back a little bit sometimes, especially when it comes to retention. Like,
Hmm.
are you being a good employer? Right?
Right.
Is your culture? And I don't mean that in a mean way,
Hmm.
but sometimes I think our mindset, it used to be 40 hours a week.
Hmm.
These were the hours,
Hmm.
and you just worked those
Hmm.
hours.
You should be lucky that you have a job, and you should be
Right.
thanking me.
And I don't think that's our culture in the world any longer.
No, it's
And
not.
so I've encouraged people to think outside the box a little bit. Can
Yes.
you, obviously, if you're manufacturing and it requires somebody to be there during those times so that
Hmm.
everything else happens, that's a
Yes.
different situation. But
Absolutely.
in an office like yours, can you
Yes.
be flexible? Can you allow them to go to their kids'
Mhm.
award ceremonies?
Yes, it does work for us. And we do have, we need the front desk covered. We need somebody to answer the phone and greet clients as they come through the door. But we found we can even be flexible with that position because some of my other people whose job that's not will cover for that person because they know that when they need to be gone, it's not a problem. They can do it. So we've created relationships where they're willing to cover for each other and they're willing to do it for me because they know it's important. I think it is really important for us to remember that the job market has changed. And I would also like to say that, we retention is very important, but are you retaining the right people? Is that person actually the person you need in that position? We have retained people for too long because it's so hard to replace people. But I got to say, when we have replaced them, it's been better for the company. So I think while retaining good employees is really important, you also have to look and say, okay, is this person really in the right seat? And has the position changed? Because we've had that before too, where the position has grown and changed, and it was actually no longer a good fit for the person that was in it. So you have to be willing to shuffle people around and change their duties or let them go, find something that's better for them because you may not be the best place for them.
Beyond, so we've talked about flexibility
Mhm.
and giving your people enough time to also be a mom or a
Yeah.
family member. But what other kinds of things do you do to create culture or keep culture?
So we try to, everybody has things they're good at and that they like, and things they're not good at and that they don't like. And there may be things within your scope of your job that either you're not good at or you don't like. So we try to minimize those. If you're not good at it and you don't like it, is there somebody else in the building that doesn't mind that and doesn't suck at that? Because if we can make your job more of what you're good at and what you like, you're going to be a lot more productive. So we can't always do that. Sometimes you have to do the things you don't like because that's just part of the job. I have to do things that I don't like. But we do try to look at everybody's job and be talking with our employees about what it is in their job that they don't like. And can we change it? Can we change the procedures, or can we change the way it's done, or the how often it's done to make it a better fit for you? Or is there somebody else in the office that can do that for you? And then you can do something else. So we look at that a lot as our flexibility. Like I said, oh, and I had something else. And of course, it just flew out of my mind, but it'll come back.
It'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll come back. Um, I want to know what you suck at and what you don't like to do.
You know, as I grow in my position as the head of my company, I find that I'm not enjoying the actual work anymore, and I have to still do some of that because we haven't grown big enough for us not to do that. Things that I suck at, I'm the worst at. My team will tell you I'm the worst at documentation. Where I'm like, document, document, document. Pam, you forgot to document that. I did. And I am the worst at following procedures. I'm getting better. But you know, I've done it. I did it on my own for so long and a lot of it is just in my head. And we're trying to get all of it out of my head and into the documentation process. And we're trying to get the way that I do it, the procedures more standardized. But out of all my employees, I'm the one that cuts corners the most because I've been doing it so long, and it's not necessarily a good thing.
So you're a terrible employee, is what I hear.
Yeah, and my employees will tell you I'm an HR nightmare. Yeah, because I am so bold and upfront, and yeah, I don't know if I'd be a great employee anymore.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
In recent interviews, it's been interesting because the idea of AI came up, and I
Hmm.
was going to ask you that, but you mentioned procedures, and I was
Yeah.
wondering if you use AI.
We have started using AI a little bit more. You know, anytime there's something new like that, it takes a while to get up to speed, and who has time for that? We all are like so busy all the time. So, my business partner Lexi has spent a little time playing with AI, and uh, our franchise has given us some direction on how to use AI to improve things. So I think AI is wonderful. I don't think AI is going to take my job. I've been hearing for years that AI is going to take my job. Nobody's going to come and have me do their tax return anymore. And I can tell you that is absolutely not true because people want to talk to people,
Mm.
and especially about things that they don't understand and are scary. We don't sell tax and accounting, we sell trust. And the people that come to us trust us to take care of them and make sure that their stuff is handled correctly. And while I think some people will use AI to handle their tax returns, they're the same people that are doing it on their own through TurboTax, and they have either fairly simple things or they're just not educated enough to know what a big mess they can make or what they could be missing out on because they're using AI. Um, AI has been used within TurboTax for a long time. It's intuitive, it asks you questions. And the problem is that with TurboTax, it's asking you questions and you don't understand the question. So, how can you answer the question correctly when you're not even familiar with the verbiage that they're using? So, AI is never going to take my job, but AI is certainly making some of the things we do easier,
Mhm.
especially in bookkeeping. We're able to automate some things. But bookkeeping is another place where I talk to a lot of new business owners and they're like, I'm just going to do it myself. And I'm like, okay, great. But please have somebody look at it once in a while because you are screwing it up 4 ways to Sunday and you don't even know because Intuit and QuickBooks has told you that you can do it by yourself and you can as long as everything works right. But the first time the program messes up, it's going to throw things off and you're going to think everything's right and it's not. So you still need people that know what they're doing to look at it occasionally and say, nope, this is wrong. This is where you need to change what you're doing. Um, so AI is going to make our jobs easier, but it's not going to replace us.
It's easy to get lost. Don't know which path to take, what to post. In the social media jungle, video is king. Your kids are obsessed, your customers are addicted, we're all hooked, and social media sites prioritize videos. So when you're ready to stand out from the crowd, reach out to 40 Deuce Films. Feeling over everything.
So we've talked about flexibility, we've talked about all that stuff, but fun has to be in
Absolutely.
part of it. And
Yes.
you're in a tax office.
I am in a
So
tax office, but I
is
don't
it fun?
yeah, I think it's fun. We have a good time. Probably not everybody wants to work in a tax office, but we have our like little tax jokes and what's happening in the tax world today. And oh my gosh, you're not going to believe what this client told me. So we have some fun with that, and then we do some fun things too. We like to bring in lunch, and we go to happy hour, and we've gone bowling, and we do a getaway, a retreat every year that is for a couple of days, and everybody gets to bring their spouse, um and we like to have fun. One of the things that concerns me about team building and having fun is that some employers try to force their team into team building and having fun. And that's not what you want to do. So we invite everybody. And some of my employees come every single time, and some of them come sometimes, and some of them come very few times because they have different things in their life that are important to them. And their off time is not mine. And if they, during their off time, if they want to grace me with their presence to come and have a drink, let me buy them a drink, or let me buy them dinner, or let me take them bowling, then that's a gift. But I cannot expect it from them, and I cannot require it. And there needs to be absolutely no retaliation or even teasing about, you're no fun, you won't hang out with us when it's not work, because that's not team building. Team building is that you feel safe in your position in our office with your team, and that you know that you can be you, and you can live your life, and you can contribute. And when you don't want to play with us, we're not going to make you. I'm a lot. And so I'm a lot. And so sometimes my employees have had enough of me, and I get that. And I sometimes I'm over people too, and I don't want to play with other people. So I get it. I get it. But you want to make sure that your team building is actually building the team and not being detrimental. You don't want to force anybody on their time off to spend time with you. And you don't actually even want to force them during their workday to do team building exercises that do not feel good to them. So you have to be careful. You have to make sure that what you're doing is actually a team building. But fun, we have fun. You can have fun, and we have fun. We've been known to stand outside the bathroom and scare somebody when they come out, or you know, I we joke around. We have a good time. We have an office dog. My dog Poppy comes to the office every day with us, so the employees take time to play with her, and uh, she thinks that you only came into the office to see her, and she thinks all the employees belong to her. So we have fun, and I don't wear shoes. I don't wear shoes at work because I don't like them. So we're relaxed. We do a good job. We hold our work is very professional. We hold ourselves to a high standard. We also don't take ourselves too seriously. Nobody's going to die. We don't do brain surgery. We do important things for clients, and we take care of them. And sometimes it's a stressful situation for them, but I tell my employees all the time, you should not be taking any stress from work home with you at night. That's not your job. I don't pay you enough for that. That's my job. I'll take the stress home at night.
I love that. I like all the parts of that. One of the things that I've really thought about over the last couple of years, because it sounds like you're talking about really supporting each
Hmm.
individual worker in the way that you're able to within the
Hmm.
boundaries of your business
Absolutely.
and that sort of thing. Um, but I want to talk to you about giving feedback because sometimes
Mhm.
that doesn't feel good, but I feel
Right.
like that's an underestimated part of team building. Sometimes we need to give feedback, and that's
Absolutely.
rough.
One of the things that I tell my employees is that you should never have um, a end of year evaluation, a 6-month evaluation, a 3-month evaluation that has anything surprising in it. You should already know what is happening because we like to give feedback when it happens. And feedback and accountability does not have to be a negative. Just because I'm holding you accountable doesn't mean that when you've screwed up that it's the end of the world. Everybody makes mistakes. In fact, we celebrate when one of the employees makes a mistake because he's practically perfect and so smart. We're like, yay, look, let's order cake. He screwed up. So everybody's got to make mistakes. You can't grow, learn, try new things without making mistakes. And things have changed quickly in our office because we're in a growth period. And as you grow, there's always things that break and things that are different than they used to be because they have to be, because we used to be able to get away with doing this kind of like easy and not real tight. And now because there's so many more clients, we have to tighten up on our client communications so nothing falls through the cracks. And so I think I think I'm losing track of what you asked me. But feedback and accountability are something that should happen daily for your people, and the positive feedback and the positive accountability. And that's part of our daily stand up too, is that we have that so that you're accountable. You said yesterday you were going to do this, and today you're telling me that you didn't do it and that you're going to do it today. So we've got accountability in that, what you said you were going to do it and did you get it done? And then the feedback of, I'm always saying within a stand up, or my employees are also saying about somebody else, they did a great job yesterday. They handled that really good. That client was upset and they took care of it and they made sure that the client had exactly what they needed and they turned that situation around. So they're getting it from each other too.
Nice. As we get to the end of the episode,
Mhm.
and man, we could talk a lot.
Yes.
There's probably more episodes that we could do. But as we get to it, if somebody's out there and they're listening to this and they're like, man, maybe I need to work a little bit on
Mhm.
the culture. Do you
Mhm.
have like a couple of this is where I would start
I think
tips?
the most important thing to do to build company culture is to just be appreciative of your employees and what they do. I tell my employees all the time, thanks for coming today. I said that one time in one of the classes and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, they don't have to come to work every day. You know how hard it is to get people to come to work every day. How about we start being appreciative of even the little things that they do? You came to work today. You took care of that for me. You made that client smile. You made it so that they're going to go tell somebody about us. Those are the most important things that your employees do for you every day. And are you telling them that you appreciate it? Money is not the best motivator for people. People want to feel good about their job. They want to feel like they're appreciated. They want to feel like somebody noticed. And so if you want to build culture, start there. Make sure that your employees know that you appreciate them every day and tell them when they're doing a great job.
I love that. That's like a great place to end.
And that doesn't cost any money.
It costs nothing.
Costs
And
nothing.
it doesn't really change anything other
No.
than mindset.
Exactly. And if you can do that with every single one of them and encourage them to do it with their peers, then you're going to create a great culture with very little else.
I love that. Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
I want to know if there's a crazy tax story you can tell us, something that would like blow my mind about a tax plan. Can you do that?
Let me think. Let me think for a minute.
Like somebody that tried to like claim their cat as a dependent or something? I don't know.
I think most people don't understand how the tax system works. And I have had, and this isn't a crazy tax story, but this is kind of where I come from. A lot of my preparers will come to me and they'll be like, "Can you believe they're trying to deduct this?" And I'm like, I don't think they're trying to be shady. They just don't know. I think the American public is not very educated on the tax system and how it works and what a deduction is and what an expense is and what a credit is. And so I think mostly people don't really understand how it works. I got a call yesterday from a potential client. She said, "Hey, I want to come in and I want to get a second opinion." And my first thought is, what do you mean a second opinion? Can't give you a second opinion without redoing your tax return. completely. So I just started talking to her a little bit. I'm like, well, what kind of income do you have? Do you have a business? And she's like, no, we're just W-2s. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the deal. We all do it the same way. There's nothing I can do differently than somebody else is doing for you. And I asked her who did her tax return, and she told me, and I said, they know what they're doing. If they're telling you that this is what your tax bill is, then 90% of the time, that's just what it is. She knows all about all of the things that are available to you. None of us do magic. We all have to work within the system. Now, if you have a business, then there may be some things that maybe they didn't think about, or they might be able to help you in a different way. But if you have W-2s or you're retired and that's the kind of income you have, there's just not much we can do to help you. It is what it is. And so I think that's the most important thing people should realize, that H&R Block can't do anything different than Liberty, then can do different than I can do different. So when you're looking for a professional to help you with your tax return, what you want is somebody that you trust and that you think is looking out for you, because that's all we can do is within the law, is to do the things that we can do.
Great. Thank you for
Yeah.
your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
If I gave you $250,000 to do something with by the end of the day to make a difference in our community, what would you do with it?
I am on the board for the food bank and I am a member of the Rotary. So I would probably split it between those two charities. Food bank is having a tough time this year. Some of their federal funds and their state funds have not come in. So they're a great organization. They feed a lot of people. And so I probably would give half of it to them. Rotary takes any funds that they get and distributes it among the community. And they're really good at telling who needs money and who doesn't. So I would probably trust them to help me send it to where it needs to go.
That's awesome. Tell me about one of your role models.
You know, I actually was I was writing in my journal about this today. I'm reading a book where you like read something every day, and then and it was talking about heroes and how, have you put somebody on a pedestal that you shouldn't, and everybody has flaws. I'm not really good at picking heroes because I'm very pragmatic, and I know that everybody has flaws and nobody is perfect. And so I think that most people are out there doing the best that they can every day. But I don't know that there's not a lot of people, when you start looking up to them and putting them on a pedestal, that's when all their cracks and flaws come through. So I try not to do that too much. I just try to take everybody everybody that comes into my life has something to teach me. And I don't have somebody that I'm like, I want to be just like them, because I am not just like anybody else. I am me, and you are not like anybody else. And you need to be you, and I need to be me, and we need to not try and be like somebody else.
It's fun. I've asked a lot of our
Uh-huh.
interviews that, and you are only the second person to have. I mean, your answer was different, but
Yeah.
I think there's only been one other person that was like, I don't really have one.
No, I don't, because I think that there's so many people out there that can help me. I don't need to pick one.
Yeah. What is one? Tell me one book recommendation you have for a business owner.
I just got done reading Extreme Ownership, and it is one of the best books I've ever read. In fact, my women's leadership book club read it, and I think that anybody that's in a leadership position or in a business could definitely benefit from reading Extreme Ownership. It talks about how, if I want my people to be better, I have to be better. If my people are failing and I am their leader, it is my fault, because I have not given them clarity about what they need to do or the things that need to happen. And so that's by far one of the best books that I've ever read. I think that when you read books about leadership from people that are in the military, which these guys are in the military, if leaders fail, people die. And while I'm in business, and like I said, nobody's going to die, I think that they have the best insight as to how to really lead people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. And thank you to our producer, 40 Deuce
Absolutely.
Films.